Hello there, and welcome to this short presentation for me to tell you a little bit more about my Mindset Mojo framework. This framework has been built over the past few years and tried, tested, and used in many communities, and it is all focused around person-centered positive psychology. I use a lot of mindfulness-based cognitive therapy as well as neurosomatic tools that we build throughout my programs. A little bit about me. I am a coach and a trainer. I'm also a speaker and an author, and I have a wealth of experience working with a wide range of demographics, right the way from corporate leadership spaces to our local homeless community. I've developed a range of programs, tools, and resources designed to be person-centered, trauma-informed, and delivered in a language that's free from medical and science or pseudo-spiritual jargon. Using cutting-edge neuroscience blended with traditional ancient wisdom, Mindset Mojo combines cognitive therapeutic approaches with mindfulness and somatics. Some of my accreditations. I am a member of the Complementary Medical Association and currently working towards the entire online school platform being accredited so that all of the courses that I run will have that accreditation attached, which is very exciting, as well as the CPD framework. I am a member of the International Practitioners for Holistic Medicine, and I'm also a fellow member of the Accredited Counsellors, Coaches, Psychotherapists, and Hypnotherapists. So just a little bit of information there for you about that. And a little message for you as well. So some examples of what you can find on my curriculum and various courses and workshops and webinars and seminars, but the general tone will include most of these as modules. So we look in depth at the mind-body connection, we look at how the brain and the body connect, and we look at some of the biochemical responses when we experience triggers, and lots of really interesting things that people really do need to know about their own lives, but seems to be lacking in the general awareness for people. So we do a lot of work on that, and then we talk about stress versus anxiety, and we look at the issues that we're facing in modern society at the moment, and we also look at the function of stress and how we can't just remove completely stress from our systems because it provides a vital resource. We look at the challenge response versus the threat response and how we do need a certain element of stress to reach peak performance, but we need to be able to manage that effectively to prevent us from reaching burnout and experiencing high levels of anxiety, which nobody wants. We also take a look at the brain in a bit more detail, but in a language that's really easy to understand, and we uncover some interesting information around neuroplasticity and growth mindset, and we look at how that's developed and the new understanding around these concepts. We look in detail about healthy boundaries. We look at how to stick to them and why we sometimes sabotage this and why we sometimes are repelled against setting boundaries and what this means and how that we can combat this in our everyday lives. And we look at kind self-talk and self-care strategies. We look at the internal dialogue that's going on within our systems, and we look at conscious and subconscious programming and why these things are in our systems and how we can take a deeper look at that, identify these things and work with them. We do a lot of work around mindfulness, so I will do some work around what mindfulness means to me, some of the tools that I implement in my daily practice, but also some signposting to some incredible practitioners who I've learned from and worked with over the years. So a whole big piece of work around building a toolkit, being very mindful, looking at the 5 Ways to Wellbeing framework in daily practice, and some information and hints and tips and tools around breathwork and various somatic tools. Here's some examples of some of the resources that you can find, and depending on what program you decide to go with, I have literally developed hundreds and hundreds of resources over the years based on CBT, DBT, NLP, all of the acronyms, but also the ancient wisdom and the mindfulness and the creative, blending the left and right hemispheres of the brain together for maximum impact. So lots of creative interventions, lots of diagnostic and assessment tools that are based on CBT and DBT, but brought into a more creative space. So there's a couple of examples here, but as I say, there are hundreds depending on the program that you choose to follow. A few more examples for you here. We like to do a lot of learning around the brain, as I say, the mind-body connection, but it's very difficult to understand some of the scientific and medical jargon. So we've translated it into some easy to understand, lots of animal analogies. I do love a good animal analogy to help people understand what's happening in their bodies and how they can learn to work with these things. We build some coping strategies toolkits, and as I say, lots of practical and creative elements there as well. The deeper work that we do on boundaries, because it's so important. I put this in as an extra slide. Why we choose to negate them, what this means in real terms, how this happens in the first place, and how we can consistently work towards not having our own needs met, how we can combat that. And we look in a lot of detail around this topic of self-talk and our internal dialogue. So I build in a lot of awareness and understanding around subconscious cognitive distortions, lots of work around identity and beliefs and values. Lots of practical tools in there and actions to support some less negative self-talk and less saboteur behaviours, thinking about the patterns that we keep experiencing in our lives and why that may be. We look towards developing a more compassionate internal dialogue and some good self-care strategies. Doing an incredible piece of work with the amazing Anthony Willoughby at the moment around the ancient universal wisdom framework, and we're using his territory mapping tool to get clarity around identity and purpose, which, as we know, are the fundamental issues with today's society and the mental health crisis that we face. So I am embedding this tool within all of my practices to look at how we can use these creative left and right brain pieces of work to gently, safely, and in a really engaging way uncover some of the challenges and some of the root causes, and work towards creating a pathway and a framework to be able to get into a better space. I've also developed a well-being passport, so that comes alongside in some of our programs, not least to get the dopamine hits associated with getting stamps in that passport when you achieve some new skills, some new goals and new activities. So it all blends together in a really nice framework. We have online Mindset Mojo supports. There's plenty of online support for you there. I have 2 published books that you can access through Amazon. There is very limited spaces on my one-to-one coaching, but lots of space within group settings, lots of digital content, self-paced, and also live webinars. And you can see there my Mojo School of Holistic Wellness. They have a great platform using Teachable, so it's really easy to navigate, really easy to understand. Lots of testimonials on there, so you can see some of my previous work. All self-paced, all really simple to navigate, simple to understand, and you can do it at your own pace. So who is this for? Just to finish up, this is for human beings. If you are human, then this is the program for you. I have taught this to hundreds of people over the last few years, ranging from age 10 right the way up to age 90. It's ideal for individuals, but also for groups and organisations. I've delivered Mindset Mojo in a school setting for a number of years now. I have delivered to a whole year group, transitioning year group in a school hall for year 7s, right the way through to transitioning back out of high school. I delivered in isolation rooms for small groups of young people experiencing significant challenges within the mainstream education system. For leadership, for SLT, for your staff, it's really, really good for education in general and supporting that well-being within the curriculum that's coming in now. Workplaces, I have delivered this, as I say, for high-end corporate leadership teams, right the way to small teams, to big corporate well-being in the workplace strategies. It can be adapted and delivered literally everywhere. You just need to let me know what it is that you need, and I can work out how I'll be able to help you. And obviously, if for an individual, the online self-paced and live courses are great. You can jump on the Teachable platform and you can do it anytime you like, or you can access one of my live webinars or my live weekly courses online. If you are in the North Wales area, there'll be some in-person workshops and seminars and courses coming up. And I'm also going to spend some time this year doing a bit of travelling, so you may be able to access a TED Talk or a seminar or a workshop while I'm out on the road. So thank you very much for your time listening to me today, and I hope that I can be of some service for you in the future. Please get in touch if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing you soon.